Good afternoon or morning or evening, whenever you're watching this. This is about expedited reinstatement. So a few people had asked about it and asked me to put something out. So I thought I'd do that before I boogie on to my next venture today. Expedited reinstatement. And I'm going to plug in the 2 pages and maybe more later, but the 2 main ones that the SSA provides that describes it for everyone out here, including myself. So the short acronym for expedited reinstatement is EXR. And as they tell us, it involves when your benefits have ended because you had worked and you had earnings, and they were enough to make your benefits end based on the earnings. When that happens, you can request that your benefits start again without having to complete a whole new application. Although, frankly, you do have to do a little bit of form filling, I think. And they can expedite that whole process, which is a good thing, instead of being in line with everybody else who's first filing. And this occurs, when you were working and you were above SGA and you were ceased because of your earnings after a certain period of time. Usually that would mean your trial work period was over due to your work. You're in your EPE, extended period of eligibility. And that 3 years expired, potentially, and you're working. And if you stop working again because of your disability and or you drop below SGA, you can ask for that expedited reinstatement. The request has to be within 5 years from the month that your benefits had ended. So if you improve enough to, again, go through your TWP, go through your EPE, and then you're terminated because you continue to work SGA after your extended period of eligibility. So for work earnings purposes, you are no longer eligible for disability, but it was never a medical thing at that time. Then as long as when you continued working, if that lasts no more than 5 years, when you have to ask for, you have to stop, go under SGA because of disability, you didn't work for more than 5 years, or I should say your benefits weren't ended for more than 5 years. You may have been working for more than 5 years, but your benefits had not ended for more than 5 years, you can ask for that expedited reinstatement. They tell us, and they give these kind of explicit little descriptions. A previously entitled beneficiary whose entitlement ended due to work. So it's not if it ended due to something else, but due to work, you're eligible for expedited reinstatement if they meet all of the following requirements. So let's go through them. The first one is he is not able, and that's in quotes, not able, or becomes unable to work at the SGA level due to his or her medical condition. Don't get too hung up on those lingos that they give you. It doesn't, in the end, it doesn't really mean too much. The other requirement that you are either not able or become unable to perform SGA in the month of the expedited reinstatement request. So first you have to be either not able or you become unable to work at the SGA level. As you know, in 2024, SGA is $1,550 for non-blind people. And of course, the becoming unable has to be because of your medical condition. It has to have happened. The inability to work the SGA anymore has to have happened at or before the month of your expedited reinstatement request. And as we mentioned before, you have to have stopped performing SGA level work within 60 months, that's 5 years, of your prior termination of benefits. You have to have a current medical impairment that is the same as or related to the original impairment. So what this means is if you were completely cured from your prior impairment, you went back to work, you're off SSD, and by the way, this can apply to SSI too. You're off SSD. I'm just going to talk about SSD though, because there are some nuances down below. And then something else happens. Something completely different. Let's say you were disabled before because of cancer. You become in remission and now you are good to go and you go back to work for 4 years. Then you get in a bad car accident and you're now disabled due to the car accident injuries. So they're not so much the cause of it, but the fact the injuries are completely unrelated to one another. It's not the same impairment or stemming from the same original impairments. That wouldn't work. That would not be an expedited reinstatement. That would be a new application. It's only if it's related. So, presumably then if someone had cancer and then they, had treatment and they were able to get back to work and they worked for a few years, and then the cancer crops its ugly head again and wipes them out of being able to work, at least at an SGA level, then that might be something that they would consider. It could also be someone with a back problem who gets treatment, gets improvement, perhaps it was a surgery, and they're back in the saddle and get some sort of job, even if it wasn't the same one, work for a few years, but not more than 5. And now the back is, we degenerate, it happens to all of us. It gets worse again because it's the original impairment. Presumably, they would probably accept that as an expedited reinstatement if it happened within those 60 months or 5 years, because it's on the mark there in terms of being same as or related to the original impairment. You also have to be under a disability based on application of the medical improvement review standard. So that's a whole nother little basket there, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. The medical improvement review standard, I would say generally is, well, let's not even go into it. It's gonna lengthen this too long. But your disability continues because there is not so much improvement that you're no longer disabled, generally medical improvement. It says claimants are not able, and that's in the quotes again, not able to perform SGA. I just scrolled down by accident. If, good Lord, in the month of their expedited reinstatement request, they do not work at all, or their work is not SGA. So when we say not working, it could be that you're simply not working SGA. You could be zero work, or you could be working very part-time and not earning SGA. SGA is a dollars numbers game. They're trying to distinguish here being not able to perform SGA from becoming unable. It's kind of funny they do this. Claimants become unable to perform SGA if in the month of their expedited reinstatement request, their work is SGA, but they stop performing SGA by the day they file their request. So if you stop working SGA in the middle of January 2024, you have become unable. You're not unable the entire month to perform SGA, but you became unable sometime in the middle. That's fine. It says to meet the requirement of having become unable to perform SGA, they must also not perform SGA in the month following the expedited reinstatement request. So if you drop down below SGA in a month, yes, you can file for expedited reinstatement, but you better stay under that SGA for the following month as well. They give an interesting thing here, something I hadn't thought about it. If you had previously won a closed period of disability, and if you don't know what that is, maybe we'll have to do a video on that. I don't think we have one. But generally it's when you won and they found you disabled, but they found that it had already stopped as well. But it was long enough in an irrelevant period of time that you were able to collect those benefits retroactively. Closed period. No longer disabled at the time of the decision, but they acknowledge it and they're paying you because they do pay some retro. But it says here, with regard to expedited reinstatement, closed periods do not apply to EXR entitlement, and claimants whose prior entitlement is a closed period of disability are not eligible. Okay, that's wonderful. Trying to see if there's anything else that could be helpful. Oh, this is kind of good. A beneficiary or a recipient reinstated under EXR receives a 24-month initial reinstatement period, IRP. After completing the IRP, and let's just talk about Title II beneficiaries, that would be SSD, not SSI for the moment. You get a new trial work period. And that's only after you've been 24 months re-entitled, if you will, under that EXR, expedited re-entitlement, or reinstatement, I should say. So after you've been doing it long enough, you've kind of gained the right to a whole new trial work period and a whole new EPE, extended period of eligibility. This is important because you might be wanting to use that new trial work period to try out work again if you start to improve. And that can, by the way, happen for a third time if those time periods play out. So that's, I think, really good because a lot of people I know do want to try to work when they improve. And the trial work period is really, really handy for that. It keeps you safe to a large degree, certainly in terms of what you earn monetarily wise. And also during a trial work period, they're not allowed to look at your work to decide that you are not disabled. There is a whole playlist on trial work period, TWP. I think there is one on EPE, extended period of eligibility, but I can't swear by it. Anyway, okay, guys. That's it. Expedited reinstatement. I've done them. It's definitely a thing to do if you regress in your recovery within the 5 years after you stopped your benefits the previous time. Super, super, super. All right. So I hope that helps you. I'm going to try to post these 2 links so you can read it yourself. I did leave out, finer details to keep it a little quicker. All right. I'll talk to you guys. Bye.